I have seen and reviewed many Seamaster professional models over the years of presenting Omega, and I've seen some really sharp ones, and I've also personally bought several of them, starting with my first luxury watch, which was the Brosnan Bond Quartz Seamaster. Iconic, awesome. It's a classic. I think it will always be referred to as a classic by watch collectors. I've owned the electric blue quartz, which I think is my personal favorite out of every Omega Seamaster. It's so striking, and it is one of the very few that I regret flipping. So it's one that I want to rebuy, but next time I'm going with an automatic with a Cal 1120. I've even owned a ridiculous 1980s gold-plated dress Seamaster that was in immaculate condition, that was owned by a Saudi prince. I've owned the smooth ceramic version, the prior generation to the one that's currently on the market, one that a lot of watch collectors enjoy that don't like the wave pattern. Now, I've also owned several of the current generation, starting with the chrome dial. I think that is the most underrated Seamaster out there. It doesn't get enough love. It doesn't get enough attention. It's very striking. I've also bought the black full ceramic, and I bought that to be my summer watch, my adventure watch last year. And, through a summer of camping and hiking and rafting, I could not scratch that watch. It was the ideal summer sports piece. Now, just considering my history with those watches, I think the electric blue was the one that I liked the most. The Brosnan is the most iconic, the chrome is the most underrated, and the full ceramic was the best adventure watch. But there is one Seamaster that I've owned that I think is the best all-around Seamaster, and it's this white dial version. Now, it's been a couple years since I personally owned it. This is one that I did sell en route to another awesome watch. I am a flipper. I think that's well known by those of you that regularly watch my content. But in this video, I want to revisit this amazing piece, talk about the good, talk about the bad, and share what I would like to see as a Seamaster fan, as a Seamaster owner in an update in the next generation of this iconic line from Omega. Now, before I get into the details, I'd like to shout out Exquisite Timepieces. They're a family-owned AD in Florida. I've been working with them for years in getting luxury watches to present. They carry over 60 brands. I've bought from them many times. If you're looking for a new watch, if you're looking to trade in a watch, I definitely recommend them, and a link will be below. Now, this white dial, I think this is one of Omega's greatest watches that they currently offer, but not greatest in terms of the sophistication of complication or the overall cost or materials. No, this is one of the greatest because of how well-rounded it is, how solid it is from almost every aspect. So let's start with the overall beauty, the presence, the fit, the versatility. I think that's probably the greatest draw with this specific colorway. It goes in almost any situation. It matches almost any outfit. It's visually striking with that subtle reflection that is far more muted on this laser engraved ceramic dial than comparably a full black dial or a blue dial. This one, it still catches the eye in certain lights, but it's not quite as in your face. And I know a lot of watch collectors enjoy that. Mix in the massive markers, the flared skeleton hands, and just the contrast that's at play with the gunmetal and the white. I actually find this to be a very legible watch, in addition to its pleasant aesthetics and its versatility. So I think that's really something positive that this watch has going for it. Now, it's about 42 millimeters in case diameter, so it's by no means a small watch, but it doesn't wear like a massive watch. I know watch collectors, I have watch collector friends that have smaller wrists that absolutely wear this on a regular basis without issue, but they wear it on either the fitted rubber or they go with the mesh, the tapering mesh. I will say this bracelet, it's tall, it's hefty, it's a little clunky, it's a little chunky, and the clasp that's on the bracelet is massive. Yes, it's adjustable. Yes, it's solid, but it adds a lot of weight. The watch on a bracelet, it feels like a different animal than compared to a rubber strap or the tapering mesh or let's say a NATO option. So I think if you're a little concerned about the overall size or dimensions of this watch, just know if you don't wear it on the factory bracelet, I think you could get away with this with very small wrists. But if you do like that heftier, more solid, more in your face type of watch presence, then you would enjoy this on the factory bracelet, the 5 link style bracelet. Now let's go in on the dial on a macro level. I think this is another area where this watch just shines. It looks excellent. The printing is crisp. I don't see imperfections. I don't see hair or particulates or anything that sometimes, happens in a luxury priced watch. The detail work on this Seamaster, it's so satisfying. And one of the reasons why it's so good is because this crystal is so clear. It's a double dome sapphire crystal, and it has anti-reflective treatment applied to the top of the crystal as well as the underside. So it really eliminates a lot of reflection, but you still get some light play off of the reflective surface. So you end up seeing the dial details unobstructed, but there's still a little bit of light reflection off of the crystal. So I don't know. I think it's just the best of both worlds in enhancing legibility at a glance, but also minimizing distracting reflections, which is kind of a pet peeve of myself. Now let's talk about the lume. The lume is very solid. These markers are deep filled. Unfortunately, this does not have a full lumed bezel like the No Time to Die Seamaster, but I like the fact that it has bitone lume. I like the fact that the lume lasts for a long time. So I think Omega has delivered satisfying amounts of low light legibility with the Seamaster Professional. Now this is the tactile feel of the bezel. I will say the grip is not the greatest with the scalloped edges, but you do have, I don't know, when you have a great design like this that is visually cohesive, there will be some give and take with the ease of gripping the bezel. I don't think it's a deal breaker, but it is something to mention. The bezel action is just average for the price. I don't consider it to be class leading, but I also don't consider it to be a massive disappointment. I think it's just average. That's the best way that I can describe it. Now this comes in an excellent wood presentation box, a lacquered style wood presentation box, which I think is the best in the luxury segment of the market. You compare this to a Rolex box or, almost any other brand, and I think Omega delivers the best presentation box at its price. Certainly you can get some really nice ones when you go north of, say, $20,000 with high horology brands, but this, I think, is the best at the luxury price segment. Now let's talk about the areas for improvement. I think this watch, it's so close to being perfect. There are just a few things that stand out that I don't consider deal breakers, but I think definitely could be improved. And one is to thin out this case a little bit. I know it goes up. It's compared a lot with the Rolex Submariner, which is a far more expensive watch and a far thinner watch. So if Omega wants to really enhance that refinement, enhance the user experience, they should look into thinning this, trimming this down just a little bit. It doesn't have to be drastic. I'm not asking for an ultra thin watch, but a little bit thinner, and the overall height would be a very welcome improvement. I personally also prefer the 8900 movement from Omega as opposed to the 8800 that's found within this Seamaster. I prefer the complication. I prefer the specifications in terms of power reserve and the twin barrels. So I would pay a little bit more for an 8900 as opposed to this entry-level 8800. Another thing that I want to mention is this helium release valve or wart that's on this lyre style case. I actually think, I go back and forth on this. I don't think that Omega should remove it. It's become part of the design identity, the design DNA. So I think it should stay, but I know there is a vocal segment of watch collectors that would prefer to see no helium release crown up there at the 10 o'clock position on the case. Now, lastly, I think this one is mentioned the most often, but a lot of watch collectors want a tapering bracelet or a thinner bracelet or a more refined clasp that's not so wide and long and heavy. And I think that's a valid point. I know the new Seamasters have quick release rubber straps and bracelets, so that's an improvement that Omega has started to introduce into this line. But the question is, when will they update this design? It's, I think, what, 6, 7 years old now at this point. And I still think it presents an excellent proposition next to the competition on the market. So, what I would like to see implemented in the future when it comes to the Seamaster, again, just trimming down the case a little bit. I don't want to see this downsized. I love the size. Again, it's very comfortable depending on what strap you wear this on. But I would like that 8900 movement. I would like a full loomed bezel insert, just enhancing the refinement without changing the design or the essence of the watch would be a step in I think, the ideal direction. But let me know what you think. Another one that comes to mind is Omega Steel. That's currently only found on the Ultra Deep, which is a heck of a watch, one that I absolutely love. And I would love to see that excellent steel make its way into the entry level section of the diver catalog. I think that would be a great move. But again, let me know what you think about the Seamaster and specifically this white dial version. Is there a more beautiful one with greater presence? Or, what color scheme do you like? What would you like to see changed in the future in the next generation of the Seamaster? Please sound off below. Thank you again to Exquisite for lending this one in for a review. If you're shopping any Omega, if you're looking to upgrade your watch, definitely check out Exquisite. I've linked them below. And lastly, if you could help me out by liking this video and subscribing to my channel, that would be massive. It helps me be found by new viewers. I would really appreciate the support. I've created over 1,000 different watch videos over the years of presenting watches. So hopefully you find something that you appreciate here on my channel. YouTube thinks that you will like the video on the screen right now.